الناس والحج. صلوا على محمد وعلى محمد. Respected elders, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. There were quite a few questions about moon sighting and also about Eid itself and some other related issues. So I thought that I would devote tonight's lecture to an examination of the main rulings about these matters and also some ideas about how the mujtahideen have reached certain conclusions. So inshallah we will be looking at the main rulings and we'll be looking at some of the reasoning behind the rulings, and we'll see that in fact it's based on a very sophisticated jurisprudential system. It's not that the jurists, they just come up with these rulings just like that. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of expertise, and inshallah we'll be able to explain some of the aspects about this whole area, inshallah. Let's begin our examination with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. We'll come to this verse a little bit later, but this is a very important verse and it tells us a lot about the whole issue of moon sighting. But let's first of all try and establish some basic rulings about the whole area of Eid al-Fitr and the prayer itself. So, with regards to the prayer, we should know that it is obligatory, and of course, it all depends on when Eid is announced. We'll come to some aspects about that a bit later on, but just in case it is tomorrow, then of course all of this will be very relevant and it will be something that we've covered together rather than leaving it for Wednesday. So just out of ihtiyat and precaution, I thought today would be the best day to cover all of these rulings. And like I said, there's been quite a lot of questions about them already. So let's begin by looking at the Eid prayer itself. Now, both the Eid prayers, they are obligatory during the time of the Ma'soom. So, inshallah, may Allah hasten the appearance of Imam Sahib al-Asli wal Zaman, so whenever the Imam reappears, whenever there's a Ma'soom among the people, then the Eid prayer is wajib. And it must be performed in congregation. In our time, because unfortunately we are in the time of the ghaiba, the occultation of the Imam, it is mustahab and it can be performed. A lot of people don't know this, but usually because we do perform it in congregation, that's fine, but it can also be performed individually as a furada salah. The time is from sunrise to the time of Dhuhr prayers on the day of Eid. Of course, I should point out that all of these rulings are from His Eminence Sayyid Ali al-Husseini al-Sistani. May Allah protect him and all of our maraja, inshallah. We always have to follow the marja of ourselves, but because, like I mentioned before, the vast majority of the people in this community are doing his taqleed, I thought I would go through his rulings. When it comes to some of the issues with regards to moon sighting, I will mention about some of the other fuqaha as well, in particular Sayyid Ali Khamenei, may Allah protect him, and all of our maraja and bless them all with long lives, inshallah. So it's recommended that one performs the prayer after sunrise. So this is just some of the basic rulings here. Recommended that someone after sunrise eats something and pays, of course, the zakatul fitra, which we discussed yesterday, and then performs the Eid prayers. So now here we have a change in the ruling. This is a new ruling by His Eminence, or from His Eminence, Sayyid al-Sistani, and it concerns the number of takbirs. Now most probably, mu'mineen have been used to doing 5 takbirs in the first rak'ah and 4 takbirs in the second rak'ah, yes? According to the new ruling from Ayatollah Sistani, it is now 4 takbirs in the first rak'ah and 3 takbirs in the second. And then there's also an additional takbir before going into ruku'. Now I'll explain as to how we can perform the old way, just as we've always been doing it as well. There's a slight change in the niyyah that we must do, but let's look at the ruling itself first. What is the main change in this new ruling? The Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, so Eid al-Qurban as it's known, the Eid that takes place after the Hajj, consists of 2 rak'ahs. In each rak'ah, after reciting Surah Al-Hamd and the other surah, one says 3 takbirs, although it is better that he says 5 takbirs in the first rak'ah. Okay, this is the main part now. Between every 2 takbirs, he should perform 1 qunut. And so there will be a total of 4 qunuts in the first rak'ah. And after the 5th takbir, he should say another takbir, go into ruku', perform 2 sajdas, then stand up. In the second rak'ah, he should perform 4 takbirs, and between every 2 takbirs, he should perform 1 qunut. And so there will be a total of 3 qunuts in the second rak'ah. And after the 4th takbir, he should say another takbir, go into ruku', perform 2 sajdas, then say tashahhud and the salam of the prayer, and then finish it like that. So what he's saying essentially is that unlike before, when we were always performing 5 qunuts and 6 takbirs in the first rak'ah, so the qunut is always between 2 takbirs, now it will be 4 qunuts with a takbir either side. So you have 5 takbirs. But also now, before going into ruku', so after the last qunut, you say Allahu Akbar, then you say another Allahu Akbar. Then you go into ruku'. Then you perform the rest of the rak'ah, stand up, now you're doing your second one. Instead of, in the past, we would do, after Surah Al-Hamd and the other surah, we would do how many qunuts in the old way? 4. Now instead of 4, you do 3. Again, after the last one, Allahu Akbar, you do another Allahu Akbar, go into ruku', then the salam and tashahhud, and you finish the prayer. So, this is the new change in the ruling. Now, let me show you a very easy to follow table. I don't know if you can all see that clearly, but this is basically a summary of how it is now. On the right hand side, you see here is the actual dua of qunut, the very famous one, Allahumma ahlil kibriyai wal azama. So what some places do is, it seems they actually display this in front of the mu'mineen, so that mu'mineen, when they're doing the qunut, because in the salah, we'll go through some of the rules later, all the mu'mineen have to recite all the parts of the salah. It's not just that the imam recites and you remain quiet. No, you have to recite everything yourselves as well. So in some places they actually have this in front of them and they will just read it as they're doing the qunut. But on the left hand side, you see here where it says first rak'at and second rak'at. This explains it very well as to how the takbirs come in. I don't know if you can see it very clearly, but this is the biggest we can get it. From the top, it says first rak'at, takbiratul ihram, Allahu Akbar, you make your niyyah, and then I'll come to the niyyah in a moment. And then takbiratul ihram, Surah Al-Hamd, Surah Al-A'la is mustahab. And then here, takbir, the first takbir, okay? Then the first qunut. Second takbir, second qunut. Third takbir, third qunut. Fourth takbir, fourth qunut. Fifth takbir, sixth takbir. You see? Then ruku, qiyam and takbir and 2 sajda. Then you stand up. Second rak'ah. Surah Al-Hamd. Then mustahab to recite Surah Al-Shams, but you can recite any other surah in both of these. First takbir, first qunut. Second takbir, second qunut. Third takbir, third qunut. Fourth takbir. And then another, this should be 5. 5th takbir, ruku, qiyam, takbir, to sajda, tashahhud, and salam. Right? So this is the new ruling. It is in the new version of Tawzul Masail, which has been translated into English, and there's a copy here. And also those of you who have the iSistani app, it's free of charge, or if you don't have it, you can go to the iStore and download it. It's called iSistani. You'll see the new version there. And actually, it's a very good thing to have this iSistani app, because wherever you go, whenever you want to look up a ruling, you can very quickly and easily find it there. It's the latest, the most recent, latest Risala of Ayatul Sistani in English. Plus, it has a couple of other books. I don't know if you've come across in the past, Code of Practice for Muslims in the West. It's got that one, and it's got the Hajj, Manasikul Hajj as well, all in English. So you have 3 books in one app, and you can search through all 3 books. So this is the new ruling with regards to Ayatul Sistani's new fatwa. So now, what about those who are doing it according to some other marja? Like, for example, Sayyid Khamenei, may Allah protect him and all of our marajah. Now, what about that? If the Imam is doing it according to the old, to the new way, then what? How do we do it in a way so that everyone can perform it in the old way? Because actually, the old way is known as the mashhur way. Mashhur is the opinion of the majority of scholars. Sayyid Ali Sistani is different to the mashhur. So he is different. So all the other marajih are doing it the old way, 5 and 4 qunut. So can we do it in a way that everyone, whether you want to, it might be just because of habit as well. So because people are so used to doing it according to the old way, that again, it might be an idea to do it according to the old way. So now, how do we get around this? So that everyone can do the Salatul Eid in the old way and together. There's no issue whether you're following Sayyid Sistani or Sayyid Khamenei or anyone else. The way to do it, when this has been asked to the office of Sayyid Sistani himself, he says, if mu'mineen make the intention of raja, right? Raja means hope in English. You know when they say, for example, arju, yaman arjuhu likulli khayr. You know the dua of raja? It means hope. I hope. So raja, you say, I am performing Salatul Eid raja'an, right? It just means in the hope that it will be something pleased to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will be pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what it means. In the hope that it's something pleasing to Allah. So tomorrow, inshallah, I'll remind, or whenever Eid is, when we are performing the salah, we'll do it the old way, so that everyone can do it together. 5 qunut and 4 qunut. But what we'll do is, those who are doing the taqdeed of Ayatul Sistani, all we have to do is make the intention of raja. So I am performing the Salatul Eid, raja'an, qurbatan ilallah, Allahu Akbar, start the salah. Okay, so that's all it is. This is a way that we can all perform it, and other scholars, they have told me the same thing. They prefer to perform it in the old way to preserve the unity amongst everyone, and in case there are muqallideen of other marajih, they don't have to worry about it. They can all perform it in the same way, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad. So the next ruling, you can recite any dua in the qunut, but it is better that one recites this dua, the very famous one, Allahumma ala kibriyai wal azama. Anyway, there's a translation there, no need to go through that. During the period of occupation, if the salah is performed in congregation, the obligatory precaution is that 2 sermons must be delivered after the prayer. So it's opposite to Salatul Jumu'ah. Salatul Jumu'ah, you have the 2 sermons before, then the salah. In Salatul Eid, you have the salah, then the 2 sermons. So please do come on time, otherwise you'll miss the salah. The salah is first. Yeah? So, then, okay, some things about the sermons. The Eid prayer. The Eid prayer does not have a specified surah, but it's recommended in the first raka'ah, Surah Al-Shams, and then in the second raka'ah, Surah Al-Ghashiyah, or in the first Surah Al-A'la, and in the second Surah Al-Shams. Okay. After Maghrib and Isha, on the evening of Eid al-Fitr, and some prayers, and after the Eid al-Fitr prayer, it is recommended to say these takbirat. You know, we normally perform these takbirs. This is something mustahab from the time of Maghrib and Isha prayers of the Eid night. Right? So from the time of Maghrib, these takbirs are mustahab. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahi alhamd, Allahu Akbar, ala ma hadana. Then there's a translation here. This is just a translation and what we do on Eid al-Adha. Recommended precaution, women should avoid going to Eid prayers. However, this precaution does not apply to elderly women. Okay? So this is often asked as well. In Eid prayers, just like other prayers, the follower must say everything except the recitation of Surah Al-Hamd and the other surah. So like I was saying, in the qunuts, when we do the qunuts, everybody has to recite them, and of course the dhikr of ruku and sajda. It's only Surah Al-Hamd and the other surah that they don't have to say. So this is just something about if somebody joins in late. Some question and answers. These are really good question and answers which I've got from Ayatollah Sistani's website. Can one lead Eid prayers if they are a traveller? By the way, I'm not a traveller, right, because I've been here for more than 10 days. But if I was, could I lead Eid prayers? Yes. The answer is yes, no problem. Another frequently asked question. When is the time for Eid prayers? Well, this one we covered, from the time of sunrise till the time of Dhuhr prayers. If it falls on Friday, like last year actually, we had Eid on Friday. I was in a different place, but I was in the States. So can we perform both of them? Yes. The answer is yes. We perform Eid prayer and Salatul Jumu'ah as well. Right, in some places they actually perform 2 Eid prayers. So in the bigger cities, sometimes you see that there is an early shift, like say around 7 o'clock, 7:30, for those who need to go to work, but they want to have the thawab of the Eid prayer. So what they'll do is they'll perform one earlier one and then one later one. Maybe those who don't have to go to work, or they don't have to go to school or college, or at least they don't have to go early. So then they'll have one at 10. So the question is, can the same imam lead both shifts? The early shift one and the later shift one? The answer is no. So you can see here, he should not lead the second prayer. Can somebody perform it at home by themselves? Yes. They just have to have the niyyah of furada. And that's it. These are the main things about Salatul Eid. Inshallah, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to take them, or we can even afterwards, if for example, anybody wants to ask afterwards as well, that's fine. Yes, please. Yes, you can say Qurbatun ila, that's fine as well. that's fine. But in the question that was asked, the Ayatollah's office, they have specified Raja. So, I mean, you are saying Qurbatan ilallah, or you can say Qurbatan ilallah, and in fact, some places, that's what I've heard someone else say. But because the answer was asked about, performing it in the old way or altogether, whatever, the question was asked about that, the answer came back Raja'an. So I think that's best. If we perform the intention, the salah with the intention of Raja'an, in the hope that it is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then I think that's the best way, because that was specified in the answer. Okay. Yes, please.
Can we do this salat by jama'at or furada?
We can perform both. So we can perform in jama'ah and furada.
In the same line?
Oh, no, but if you're standing in jama'ah, then it should be jama'ah.
Okay.
Furada means like if you're going to pray at home, you can perform with all the, qunuts and everything. Of course, you don't have the khutbah, you just perform the 2 rak'ah prayer at home with the intention of furada.
The reason I asked this question, because this one is mustahab, is not wajib.
Yes, good question. So why is this prayer, although it is mustahab, why are we allowed to perform it in jama'ah? Very good question. Because every mustahab prayer, apart from one, I don't know if anybody knows it, a bit of a quiz question. There's one mustahab prayer that you can perform in jama'ah, apart from salat, this one. Is there anybody knows? No. It's wajib. It's wajib. The salah for rain, right? The salah for rain, that you can. But yes, so coming back to this question, it's because originally at the time of the Ma'sumin it was wajib. So now it's become mustahab because the Imam is not here. But originally it was wajib. When the Imam comes, inshallah, he'll come very soon, then again it becomes wajib. So this is why. Okay. Any other questions on Salatul Eid? Alright, let's now move on to the really hot topic, which is moon sighting. And you will see here, of course, it's one of those things that comes up every year. At the beginning of Ramadan, and sometimes more or less at the end of Ramadan when we have Eid. First of all, just some basic rulings about how do we establish it is the first of the month. How do we know that, for example, tomorrow or Wednesday, it is the first of Shawwal? Very quickly, there are 4 ways. The first of the month is established in these ways. The person himself sees it, sees the crescent, right? So this now becomes hujjah for him. It is something that he can, he has to act upon. For him, it is the first of the month. So this is very easy. The only thing here that I would say is that how can somebody see it? Here we have a difference of opinion. Sayyid Ali Husseini Sistani, he says you have to see it with the naked eye, meaning you cannot use any optical aid. You cannot use binoculars or a telescope with the naked eye. Sayyid Ali Khamenei, he says that no, it's okay if you see it with the telescope or any optical aid. So the way to establish it is the same in that the person himself sees it, but how they see it, it differs among the scholars. Like Sayyid Sistani says, naked eye. Others, like Sayyid Khamenei, says you can use a telescope or optical aid. Now, we'll come to what Sayyid Sistani says about using calculations of astronomers and experts in a moment. But for now, let's look at the second one here. The other way is that a group of people, they say that the moon has been sighted, and you derive confidence, itminan as they call it. You have confidence in what they say. Again, this is hujjah for you, it is authoritative, and you act upon that. So he says that a group of people from whose statement one derives certainty or confidence. So yaqeen or itminan. Yaqeen is at the highest level. You have absolute certainty. Itminan is at the lower level. It's not yaqeen, but you have confidence. You have satisfaction that what they are saying is correct. That's fine for you. Thirdly, two just adil men say that they have seen the moon at night. Okay? So you hear this from two just adil men, and that's fine as well. However, if they describe attributes of the crescent that contradict one another, then it is not established. So one says it looked like this, another says it looks like that. They are contradicting each other, then you won't be able to follow that because they are not saying the same thing. Similarly, the first of the month is not established by the testimony of two men if one is certain they've made a mistake. So there are two adil men, but you are certain or you have confidence that they have made a mistake. So then it's not established. Or there is a contradiction. So a group of people, they go to sight the moon, but no more than two just people claim to have sighted it. So a whole group goes, but only two say they saw. There's a contradiction there. Or a group of people go, and two people among them, just people, they say they have sighted it. The others say the others do not sight it. They say they haven't sighted it. Then what? Again, you cannot follow that. So if there's a contradiction amongst what the two adil men have said, then it loses its weight. And then the fourth and final way is, of course, the easy way, I guess, and that is 30 days past of any month. Because the lunar month, the Islamic month, as it's sometimes referred to, will always have either 29 or 30 days. We never have 28, nor do we have 31. It's either going to be 29 or 30. So if 29 days have passed, for example on Tuesday, 29 days, then definitely Eid will have to be on Wednesday. Because, so say Tuesday will be the 30th day, then definitely Eid cannot be on Thursday, for example, because that will be 31 days of Ramadan. You cannot have that. The 30 days have passed. First of Shawwal would then be on Wednesday. Okay. So now let's come to some of the main contentious issues. You see here, he says that it can be established by if you have itminan or yaqeen with regard to what astronomers and experts, scientists say. Now here we have to be very careful. What does that mean? Up to what level? Well, when we look at what the scientists say, they tell us that with absolute precision, they can tell you exactly when the new moon is going to be born. Not just for this year, but for hundreds of years in the future as well. Even in the past, there are software programs, you put in the details, and it will tell you, for example, the new moon will be born exactly to this, to this precise moment. So, can we use that? Yes. Even Ayatollah Sistani says, you can use that type of information. However, remember that is the birth of the new moon. The birth of the new moon is not what we go by. It's not the birth. What do we go by? We go by the crescent. There are two different things here. The birth of the new moon, can anybody see the new moon at all? This is another trick question. You cannot actually see the new moon. The new moon is totally invisible. It's black because of the way it's shaded, right? It's totally black. So when it's first born, meaning when it's just about to now start its new cycle around the earth, it will be totally black. You won't see it. That is the new moon. They actually call it no moon. Not new moon, but no moon, because it's there, but you can't see it. What do we go by? We go by the hilal. Hilal is not new moon, it is crescent. It means that typical shape that we are all used to seeing. that is actually the edge of the moon, which is just being lit up, or is just being lit up by the sun to one part of it, and so we can see it. It's that curved crescent shape. Soon as we see that, that is the start of the Islamic month. So now, if you have a look again at this verse that I recited at the beginning of this lecture, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say in Surah Baqarah 189? يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَهِلَّةِ. It doesn't say they ask you about the moons. He doesn't use the word qamar or anything like that. He says ahilla. Ahilla is plural of hilal. So they ask you about the crescents, not the moons, not the new moons, because the crescent is a stage of the moon. The moon goes through loads of stages. So this is what determines the month for us, the crescent. Please bear this in mind. Now, what Ayat al-Sistani says is that you can also rely on what the scientists and the astronomers are saying if you derive certainty or confidence in their calculations. So like I said, they tell us certain things for sure, like when is the precise moment of the new moon. They also tell us a number of other things. Now what he says is, you can actually use that. It's not that he says you can't use astronomers' calculations. No, if you gain certainty or satisfaction based on what they are saying, your first of the month will be established for you. So for example, let's say there is a place, another place that has spotted the moon. The crescent, I should say, it spotted the crescent. Now this place shares the horizon. What does share the horizon mean? It means that, I don't know if some of you have seen the charts on moonsighting.com, for example. If you have a look at these charts, they are normally in the different colors. They show the map of the world, and they show the places where sighting is possible. So it's usually in a semi-oval curve, like this, right? It will cover certain continents, certain places around the world. So it will be like this, or in slightly different shapes. And then there will be another color within that. Then there will be another color and another color, like that. What these colors show is the possibility of sighting the hilal. And then they color them in different ways. So for example, red shows that it cannot, black means it cannot be sighted at all. Red with optical aid. Then you will have certain things like grey. You can spot it with optical aid. And then, for example, Ayat al-Sistani himself says, you're allowed to spot it, where it is, the location. And then, if you put the optical aid aside, can you still see it or not? If you can still see it, then that's fine as well. So you can use optical aid just to spot it. Is it there? Is it there? Is it there? But once you spot it there, you have to keep it aside. Then you have to see, am I still be able to see it with the naked eye or not? If you can, then fine. If you can't, then again, it's not the first of the month. And so you see, there'll be these different color coordinations up to the point where it goes blue. So under excellent, perfect conditions, you can see it with the naked eye. And then green. Green means you can see it easily with the naked eye. So now, when they talk about sharing the horizon, it means the same place that is within the curve of the possibility of seeing the moon. So for example, it can be seen in one part of North America. Now, can you use that sighting for another part of North America? What you do is you look at the curve. If it was possible there, then it is possible here, for example. Then, as long as it is possible to see it with the naked eye, then he says, yes, you can go according to that. As long as you believe that what the astronomers have said, it gives you certainty. What they have said is correct. Level of certainty or a level of confidence in what they are saying. Now, what about it shows in your town, it's sharing the horizon as another town, but that town, it saw it very early, for example, a number of hours before it saw it. You are sharing the horizon with that town. But when you go out, it's cloudy. Or for example, there's lots of smoke and pollution in that city, for example. There are some places like that. It's just not clear. Atmospheric conditions are not good. But you saw it on the map and you know that it shares the horizon. They saw it, so you should be able to see it as well. It's just that on that day, your town was cloudy. It's going to be raining. That town was clear. Then what? Ayatul Sistani says, yes, you can. You can go on the basis of what the astronomers have said, as long as, again, you have confidence or you have certainty in the accuracy of what they are saying. So, you see, Ayatul Sistani is not someone who says we reject all astronomical data. He says, no, it can be used in these situations and there's no problem. In fact, it happens a lot. It's just because there's clouds, you can't spot it. But because the scientists and the astronomers have said, definitely, you should be able to see it, then you can go according to that. So I hope I've clarified how and when Ayatul Sistani allows you to use astronomical data, scientific data. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So now let's look at some other aspects of this whole area of moon sighting. Yes, let's spend a few moments about the basis of why he says what he says, and then we can get a better idea of why he says it must be naked eye versus optical aid. So you will see here, again, it all goes back to this verse. This gives you an idea. Now, of course, this is to do with ijtihad. It's a very technical science. It's a very sophisticated and developed science of fiqh and usul. It takes years and years and years of studying at the highest level with top scholars to reach the level of ijtihad. This is not easy. But just a few things about how they have come up with the idea of using naked eye versus optical aid, right? Just some things, otherwise it's very much complicated than this. Again, Ayatul Sistani and people like him who say naked eye, they say, look at the verse. Who is being addressed here? Who are doing the questioning? Who is this verse trying to, address? Well, it's the common person. It's regular people, right? At that time, people were asking, they ask you about the crescents. Tell them they are time references, or waqid, it comes from the word waqt, right? They are time references for people and for the Hajj. So what Ayatul Sistani says is that, look, it's talking about ordinary people. Is it talking about specialists? Is it talking about those who have access to telescopes and binoculars? It's not. It's talking about regular people. Not just that, it's talking about people for all times and for all places. We need a ruling. This is, I'm paraphrasing his thought process. We should have rulings that cover all people in all places. Now, there's only one way we can do that, because all people in all places, unless they have some type of physical ailment, we can say that's just an exception, but people in all places at all times will have the naked eye. And people will always be able to look up and see, is the crescent there or not? So this is why he says that the naked eye is what is the main criterion. Can we say the same with regards to telescopes and binoculars and optical aids? He says no. All people in all times will not have access to telescopes. They will not have access to binoculars. Therefore, what this verse is saying is giving us a general rule that for all times and all places it applies. Can you see the reasoning behind it? Others though, of course, with great respect to the other brilliant maraji like Sayyid Khamenei and the others who say we can use optical aid, they interpret it differently. They say that when, for example, we have traditions from Imam Jafar Sadiq sallallahu alaihi wasallam that say Sum li ru'ya wa aftir li ru'ya. It means fast upon seeing and do iftar, break the fast. So don't fast upon seeing. They say, well, ru'ya means seeing, okay, sighting. Ru'ya, yes, in the past they didn't have those optical aids, but ru'ya is ru'ya. It is seeing. So what does it matter whether it's seeing by the naked eye or seeing by an optical aid? What if you go on a plane and then you happen to go above the clouds and you happen to see the hilal? Isn't that ru'ya?
Yes.
It's still ru'ya. So you can see how both sides have arguments, you know, and so what is our responsibility in such a situation? Our responsibility is to perform our duty according to what our marja says. And it's not a big deal. Unfortunately, some people make it a big deal. But really, if we follow what our marja says, then what we have done is actually shown great commitment to the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have made a firm type of action that shows that actually for us, we just want to perform our duty. On the day of resurrection, are we going to have an answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when He asks us, how did you determine your Islamic laws? How did you determine when it is end of Ramadan, the first of Shawwal? Are we going to have an answer? If we have an answer, then alhamdulillah, we'll have hujjah, we'll have proof on the day of resurrection, and we won't be punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What will our answer be? Our answer will be, oh Allah, we weren't able to determine all of these things ourselves. We didn't reach the level of ijtihad. But what we did do was to follow somebody who we thought was the most learned. And they gave us this ruling. And so we followed them. Now you see, Allah in His wisdom, in His justice, is He really going to punish us if we have followed the most learned? What more could we have done? We couldn't reach that level of ijtihad ourselves, so we followed the most learned. So you see, we have an answer. This is our duty. Unfortunately, sometimes people make it such a big issue that why can't we have Eid on the same day together? How many times, have we heard this? Well, it's because this is the dynamic nature of ijtihad. We should be proud actually about our ijtihad system. It is not a system where somebody blindly follows their teacher. It is not a system where somebody blindly follows a great Shaykh in the past. No, our ijtihad system requires every mujtahid to look at the sources independently, according to their understanding now. A new mujtahid will come. He cannot follow those of the past. He has to come up with his own independent reasoning. This is something we must be proud about. That alhamdulillah, they are striving so hard to do it independently. And in fact, this is a way that the whole science develops. If people were blindly following their teachers and the great sheikhs of the past, how would ijtihad develop? According to new circumstances, according to new findings. I told you about some new rulings. It would always remain stagnant. It would never develop. It would truly be left in the dark ages, and we will not be able to progress as a community. So let's take pride in the ijtihad system that we have. is a fantastic system. Yes, we know nothing is perfect. This is not perfect either. Our ijtihad will never be perfect until the Imam Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajul Sharif comes and he tells us exactly what the perfect rules and everything are. But in the absence of the Imam, what can we do? Is there a better alternative? When there's no better alternative, we have to respect the system, we have to preserve it, we have to defend it. Let's not, either ourselves try to demean it or hear, troublemakers demeaning it. Let's defend it because there is no better system at the moment. When the Imam comes, inshallah, alhamdulillah, everything will be better. But at the moment, this is what we have. It's enough for us to have hujjah on the day of resurrection. And it is a system that is at present working well. Let's not make this issue a big issue. Even Ayatul Sistani says, you could always travel. Just say you did want to have Eid altogether. Those who are doing Eid on a different day, they say they're fasting. It's day number 30 for them. Say the younger ones, they are doing Eid. So the ones who are fasting, they can travel outside the city, have the tarakhus, where they now they become a traveler, they become all musafir, come back, have a biryani together. There's always a way. If you want to find a way, there is a way. Why cause division? Why cause all sorts of problems when there's always a way? In fact, the way it's going is that there will always be different in different places. The way it's going more and more towards using astronomical data. What are the implications of this? Even if you go 100%, let's say every mujtahid went on astronomical data. Are we still going to have Eid on the same day?
Yes.
No. You know why? Because we all live in different time zones. Over here, let's say we're performing Salatul Eid. Those in Pakistan will be getting ready to wind up their day. They'll be coming to an end of their celebrations. There's 10 hours difference. So definitely, even if all the Maraji agree, we still have the issue of time zones. Also, are we going to be able to physically change the path of the moon? We can't. It's the way the moon is. The way the moon is, it changes from month to month. Even those semi-oval arcs I was telling you about, when you look on the maps, right, there's all these arcs that show you the possibility of sighting. You know what? It changes every month. So 1 month, we might be sharing our horizon with another city, and because they saw it, we can see it, right? We can allow to do it, for example. Next month, it'll be like this, it'll be like this, it'll be like that. You have a look on moonsighting.com, have a look at some of the charts. It changes month by month. Now, unless somebody has the power to control the movements of the moon, not just the movements, but the speed of the moon, then we're always going to have these issues. So let's live with it, let's appreciate the differences, let's acknowledge the scholarship that's there, and let's just perform the duties that are on our shoulders, inshallah. Let's pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He enables us to always perform the duties that are on our shoulders, inshallah. So let's pray to Allah that He hastens our Imam so that everything becomes clearer and even more perfect, inshallah. Let's pray to Allah that He protects him from all difficulties, and let's pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He forgives us and our forefathers for our sins. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوسيين، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليكم سائر شهداء كربلاء خصوصا سيدي مولاي أبو الفضل العباس ابن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء، السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء، السلام عليك يا سلطان يا أبا الحسن يا علي ابن موسى الرضا، السلام عليك ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان، أجل الله تعالى فرجك وسأل الله تعالى مخرجك وزهورك. السلام عليك وعلى آبائك الطيبين الطاهرين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله